stupid mouth. Don't keep that in, James. Hello, all of you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Tues Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the Crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who has finally succumbed to the awesome nature of the power shirt. Yes, look at all of the tigers on here. I am so roaring with manliness. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other to thank than JC Geisler for their suggestion of video games that asked you to 100% them, but not without insulting you first. Now, this is the thing. As gamers, we're prepared to put up with a lot of things when it comes to enjoying our hobby, from all of the shady NFT bollocks that's going on at the moment to all of the other, well, shady practices that publishers have tried to get away with in the past. We're prepared to basically just go, listen, we're paying a lot for the experience and we're just going to have to put up with all of the other machinations of this industry just to enjoy the things we want to enjoy. But sometimes devs take it even one step further by saying, listen, I know you want to 100% this game, and that is going to require a ton of time commitment and a ton of effort. But as a reward, we're also going to slap you in the face first as well. How do you like the sound of that? And we as a collective community are like, no, that sounds horrible. But it didn't stop them anyway. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 video games that insulted you for 100%. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat, and also put your suggestions down in the comments below. But with that in mind, let's get on with this list, shall we? Number 8, The Pause Master, Shrek Superslam. Now, one of my pet peeves when it comes to video game trophies are ones that require a ton of effort and time to unlock, but my pubes are pulled even tighter, yanked right down they be, by games that ask you to do this, but the games themselves don't even take the time to be any bloody good. Case in point, Shrek Superslam, a Power Stone ripoff that barely has any right being in the same genre as that aforementioned classic. Now, I know that a fair few of you out there will be like, but Jules, I love Shrek Superslam, it was the best thing ever. It wasn't, my friend, because you never played Power Stone. Power Stone is the best. That is the right answer. That is the only answer. Now, while this game had the staying power of a vampire in direct sunlight, it also tried to absolutely bleed players dry with some rather needled barbs for those that unlocked the Pause Master trophy. Now, getting the trophy itself isn't hard in the slightest. All you have to do is pause the game 100 times. However, the issue comes with the trophy's description, which states, for a hero that is desperate for a trophy, any trophy. Now, the irony here is the fact that it's not us that are desperate, it's the game itself, which is just seeking for any means possible to make you stick around for, say, 5 minutes more, even if it is just to unlock this trophy, because it knows deep down that the moment you stop playing it, it's going to be relegated to obscurity forever. Number 7, how many licks does it take? Saints Row 4. So we all know that if you're gunning for 100% in a video game, you're gonna have to prepare to put up with a lot of mindless busybody work in order to reach that lofty goal, from, I don't know, collecting all the jiggies in the land to shooting all the pigeons in Grand Theft Auto 5, or collecting their feathers in Assassin's Creed 2. I wonder if the two are linked in a timeline thing. Maybe I should do a video theory on how... No, that's completely sidetracked. You've got to be prepared to put up with a ton of collectathons. But when it came to Saints Row 4, it basically just said, here lads, hold my mouthwash and I'll show you how it's done. That's because in the How the Saints Saved Christmas DLC, early on you'll find a door blocked by a candy cane, and you're given the choice to either blast through the door or lick your way through. Now, the game clearly wants you to choose the former, as, after all, this is a Saints Row game and explosions are the title's bread and explosive butter, but you just know deep down that they wouldn't offer you the latter choice if there wasn't something to gain from it. Well, you'd be right, my friend, for there is an achievement tied to licking your way through this door, which annoyingly means that you need to do this for 100% completion. But the problem is that it takes 5 whole minutes. 5 minutes of you licking your way through a door, with textual taunting being shown to you from the game's dev saying, you're nearly there. Oh, we're kidding, you weren't actually nearly there. You got about 4.5 minutes to go. Keep licking, mate. And all the while, it is punctuated by the soundtrack that will forever haunt my nightmares. It sounds like a porn star sipping soup. I hate it so much. It is both wet and moist and disgusting, and get it out of my ears. This is achievement mockery at its most obvious, and it's basically just the devs asking you what you do for a trophy in order to 100% the DLC, all the while rubbing their dirty, smelly asses in your face. Number 6, Dark Ages Rush, Age of Empires 2. Now, this achievement is particularly grubby when it came to insulting fans looking to 100% the otherwise epic and monumentous Age of Empires 2, but it wasn't because of what it asked players to do in the game. Now, it turns out that it had locked most of them out before they'd even bloody bought it. This is because when it comes to the Dark Ages Rush or Early Adopter achievement, you could only get this unlock and thus hit 100% completion if you happened to pre-order the HD edition of the game. Everyone else who was too late to the party was just stuck out in the cold, looking in at the chance of perfecting the game, just making out with the office temp, and then receiving an email with his hairy bare cheeks as an attached image the next morning. In short, it is quite the insult to most players who didn't pre-order the game, as now they're basically just like, oh cool, I've sunk literally hundreds of hours into this title. I've done everything there is to do and I've seen everything there is to see, but I still don't have 100% completion because I didn't pre-order the game in the allotted time. Ooh, that stings. That really stings. Number 5, The Feckless, Warhammer Online. Now, I might have mentioned before in the past that I like Warhammer a little bit. James, have I told you that I like Warhammer just a little bit? In fact, I have a board game channel called Live and Let's Dice. That was me trying to spell it out and then I gave out halfway through. That was pretty lazy of me. Live and... we're not even going to bother with that. Live and Let's Dice. Go over there and check it out. I do loads of Warhammer battle reports and do some streaming outside of work. Just working my way through Sifu at the moment. Plug over, back to the actual list. So yeah, while Warhammer Online might just be a fading memory to many in this day and age, at one point in time, war was on the lips of every crusty basement dweller, as nobody quite expected a first-time MMO to be this bloody good straight out of the gate. I mean, sure, it had its teething problems here and there, but the endless battling, rich world lore, and dark biting humour really captured the vibrant and violent world of Warhammer to a T. In fact, it was this cruel humour that led to one of the game's most infamous rewards. You see, in this title, they had this sort of like vanity nameplate thing that you would add to your character, and what it would do is tell the world over of the deeds that you had accomplished. Maybe you'd slain 10 dragons, maybe you just kicked the teeth of an orc war boss right down his throat, or maybe you just had a bit of a party time with some nobblers and ended up blackout drunk. That just happens sometimes in the world of Warhammer. That just happens. But the Feckless could only be gotten if you died 10,000 times to other players. That is enough to turn death into a full-time job. Can you imagine the pain of watching your character get annihilated over and over, only to net this as a symbol of your devotion to getting dunked on? That is about as torturous to me as watching a long-form documentary on seal clubbing, but with the narration done by Gilbert Gottfried. Harrowing. Number 4, A Massive Pile of Poop, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I can't remember if he actually likes this game. I better check in with him. James, do you like the Breath of the Wild?
I love it.
Good, so I think it's pretty clear that he likes the game there. And thus, when in conjunction with the list that I'm talking about today, can you guess what I'm going to be talking about?
Not the golden poo.
Yeah, it's the golden James, isn't it? It's the golden. You knew it was going to be on this list. You probably clicked on this just thinking, oh, he won't do something so obvious as that. Hate to disappoint you, my parents and fans at home. I mean, there's no way around this. There's no excuse. And equally, there is no remorse from the developers in giving players who collected 900 Korok seeds, which would have taken so many hours, with a literal piece of That is what you are to them, just a bunch of focused fecal matter, some dedicated doo-doo.
Well, thank you for reminding me about this, Jules. I just want to move on. Let's just go to the next entry. You're doing those fingers again, aren't you?
Evil chicken's back. You see, James, the reason that I'm doing the evil finger temple of doom that I know you hate so much is because of the fact that there is actually something worse than the giant piece of pixelated poo, and that is the reward that you get for actually 100%ing this game, which is a monumental task. So I ask you, what do you think you get for 100%ing Breath of the Wild? The answer is absolutely nothing. That's right, not only do you have to endure the shameful pile of poop reward, but exploring every region, beating every puzzle, and collecting every item sees you net nothing more than a percentile rating of 100%. And for those of you at home that are saying, oh, but the journey should be seen as its own reward, that is an absolute lie. Even the most basic of tourists return from wherever they've gone with like a keychain at the very least. Give me my goddamn keychain, Nintendo. Hell, I'd even take a fridge magnet. Number 3, Jeff Goldblum, Choose You Out. Jurassic Park, The Lost World. Now, almost on the other side of the coin now, the Jurassic Park video game based on the Lost World film actually does reward players for completing the title to 100%, but after witnessing it, they probably wish they hadn't bothered. And while a personalized message of congratulations from the one and only Jeff Goldblum might seem like a brilliant way to cap off the experience, things soon turn sour when, well, Jeff decides to turn sour himself. After thanking the player for their time in a way that could be best described as bloody smarmy, things then descend into a diatribe that seems befitting of a master of passive aggression, as now Jeff chews you out for essentially wasting time completing the game when you could have spent time outside or going on dates. There's something pervasively aggravating about his tone of voice, the content of his half-hearted message, and the fact that he's giving off a whole "what are you doing on my private beach" vibe thanks to the setting of the vid. And while the actor might have gone on record since saying that he has no recollection of filming this whatsoever, which kind of asks you what the hell was going on at this point in time in his life, we will forever remember what went on right here. I wish that I could forget this, Jeff. You personally hurt me. Number 2, 1 million roses. We Love Katamari. And now for a trophy, achievement, unlockable, whatever you want to call it, that really does stress the words "We Love Katamari," because by the end of this, you'll be looking at the screen with gritted teeth going, "We love Katamari." God, that got a bit dark, didn't it? Actually hurt the back of my head then. How have I done that? Now, normally, if somebody asks me to collect 1 million of everything, I'd probably tell them where to shove that most beautiful of thorny flowers, just because of the sheer time investment involved. Yet, We Love Katamari is so infectious and beautifully balmy that many players figured that they were up to the task of collecting 1 million roses for the king of the cosmos. What followed was days, literally days of rolling around collecting roses, which capped out at a daily limit, meaning that you had to wait for the flowers to reset before you could go at it again, weirdly making We Love Katamari one of the first instances of that live service model daily grind work forever inside this game model. Which isn't a good thing. Yet what made this process even more insulting than the sheer time investment was the fact that when you do hand over that big old ball to dear old dad, he basically says, "Oh lol, you actually did it, yeah, wee idiot man, what you doing? You should have done something else. It's a totally pointless exercise." That's how I think that he talks, because I imagine he's kind of like Shea Gorath from the Elder Scrolls. No one else thinks that? Fair enough. Cheers, Dad. I really needed that after all of that arduous work. Now, at least you do get some reward for doing this. I mean, the title screen does get covered in roses, which is admittedly quite nice. And you do unlock a new song, which absolutely certifiably slaps on the James Slap-O-meter. Where would we rate it? But still, yeah, definitely for the song itself, not James's Slap-O-meter, definitely gets the weekly 2 big thumbs up. See, I did remember about that one there. But for the act of doing it, it gets the old 2 big thumbs down. Not making that a thing. And number 1, something different. Spider-Man 2. God bless Bruce Campbell and his amazing Sam Raimi Spider-Man cameos. Seriously, every time he popped up in those films, I was giddy. I say giddy with excitement. And such was his dedication to the franchise that Brucey here was actually approached to provide the narration for the surprisingly brilliant Spider-Man 2 video game, and players can hear his dour dulcet tones pouring out throughout the title, offering advice with more than a hint of sarcasm behind them. It brilliantly juxtaposes the over-the-top action that you're playing through and will always keep the web-slinger feel a little more grounded, especially if you're looking to see and do all there is to see and do in this title. For if you listen to Campbell's advice, he tells you that he will tell you something different if you manage to purchase all of the in-game hint tokens. Now, this is the thing, this as a challenge isn't exactly that hard, but you've got to do it to get that 100% rating because you've got to buy everything, you've got to do it, so you've got to grind your way a little bit, get some coins, come back, buy all the tokens, and what does he say for doing all of that? He literally says something different. Those two words.
Something different.
Oh, Mr. Campbell, it was a simple ruse, but a bloody good one indeed. Well done. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games that insulted you for 100%. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice. There's me spelling it again brilliantly without flaws whatsoever, where I do all of my streaming and Warhammer content outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there. In fact, there's a new series that we're going to be starting hopefully next week, or by the time this video comes up, it'll be this week, which is going to be the Dark Souls RPG. Going to hopefully get some guests, some special guests involved in that as well. So go check that out. Should be a good laugh. And I'm also playing through Sifu at the moment as well, which is tough indeed. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we detailed today a lot of video games that de-incentivized actually trying to complete them to 100% because they provide a little slap in the face along the way, you should never give up on your life goals and aspirations, my friend, because at the end of the day, even if you stumble on your road to get there, it doesn't matter. You've just got to keep trying, keep pushing for it, because if you truly believe that this is what you've been put on this earth to do, then I want you to achieve those goals, especially if they tick off the big 3 of love, happiness, and success, because at the end of the day, I just want you to live a healthy and happy life. Big love to you, my friend. Now go out there and absolutely smash it. Never give up. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.